This movie is about a young man who responded to the calling of his country and yet ended up doing much more. It was right after the biggest war in all of human history, World War II. The historic city of Naples, Italy, lay in ruins. Only 17 years old and only a seaman first class, young Thomas Degadon was out on his walks when he noticed decrepit elderly people, virtual skeletons, scrumming through rancid garbage for food to eat. Before he could even take in the harshness of the scene, he noticed a bunch of young people approach them and immediately beat them mercilessly, almost to death, for the very garbage they were eating. This horrified him. He did everything he could to protect the elderly until he realized he had to shoot his rifle, force them to stop. But that night, a disturbing thought occurred to him. What if these young people had babies at home that they had to feed? Indeed, this entire town and much of the entire world at this moment was starving in the wake of World War II. So after a sleepless night, he woke up with an epiphany. He noticed how in the mess halls on the ship, people had minutes to eat their food. So much food would get thrown away. It occurred to him, what if we didn't throw this food away, but rather stored it, preserved it, and refrigerated it, and coordinated with the people in the towns to distribute it peacefully to the people to eat? A simple and practical idea. He thought of all the logistics of who he'd work with, how it would be accomplished. He told all his friends, boasted about his plan to save the situation, until finally one of his friends sent him to the first gunner, who set up an appointment in the quarters of the captain on the U.S. Port Smith. The captain was very impressed, and within days it became policy on the U.S. Port Smith that all food uneaten would be stored up, distributed with churches to the towns, fed to the people, and in short order, the rest of the Navy followed suit, and the Army followed the Navy. In 1946, before a dollar was raised by the Congress, the U.S. military all throughout the world was feeding people with excess food. When you look back and think about that moment in history, the moment that saw the first nuclear weapons used, the prospect later of nuclear war between the two superpowers, the wake of World War II and the Holocaust and the unthinkable horrors that happened there as well as in Japan. And you contrast that with a simple young man coming up with a clear idea of how to save civilization by responding to human needs. This is what this story is about, and this is why it's a timeless tale that can speak to any young person today facing the crisis of our own times. So will you get behind this movie so that we can tell a new generation of Americans and people around the world about how one person really can make a difference in a crisis and save the course of civilization? So would you like to be part of history in the making? Join our team. With a contribution of $50 to $100, your name will be memorialized in the credits of this animated film. If you contribute $100 to $300, you will get a free DVD along with mention in the credits. If you're one of our top supporters at $300 or more, you will get a free screening of the premiere of this movie, plus the DVD and top mention in the credits. So come on board. The train is leaving the station. This movie has the power to transform hearts and minds as well as educate young people on critical moments in history. It can give inspiration, so will you help empower us to empower the world, to save civilization through stories like this, to help give people vision, wisdom, and guidance?